Alright, here we are, Lonnie's Fishtank Devlog number 8. Lots of exciting changes, mostly like a lot of quality of life type stuff and polish to make the game feel a lot more game-like. Very excited to show it off, so a lot of new developments going on with the team. As we talked about getting an artist on board, so it sounds like we're going to be cooperating with her, so that's exciting. Definitely happy to have Charlene on the team. I think there's also Trout, who's coming back, aka Noah. So he's going to come back and help a lot with the coding effort, so that's exciting as well. And I went ahead and threw in a bunch of new assets in here to help spruce up the game essentially and make it have a lot more of a game feel. So enough beating around the bush, let's just jump into it. So this is again the new kind of main menu landing page. What we have here is new button assets that Adrian provided to help spruce up the UI a bit. Not sure if those were there last time, but what I did was added this new, essentially this asset from the asset store. They were doing a spring sale, so I picked up two different assets. The first one was this asset called Feel, and it brings a lot of very simple effects and animations that can be pretty quickly added into your game. So it's a very popular asset on the asset store and allows us to do things like these cool little button toggles very, very easily. So that's exciting. I added a couple of those, as we'll see in this devlog here. And the second one was some text animations, so we'll see a little bit of that in a moment too. So let's go ahead and start the game. I just love seeing these buttons bounce around. Okay. Zoop. And then back to the room. Alrighty. So, as you can see, this is the room setup now. I switched a couple of things around per the new assets that Ashley has been creating. So we can see the bed a lot more clearly than it was shown in the last vlog. So it's got nice textures going on there. The skateboard to be textured. I think Adrian said he's going to work a little bit on that at some point. And then there, of course, the dresser here, the fish tank she made, which I think was here last time as well. Also with this little castle in here too, as a prop. And then there's also the final computer desk, so she worked really hard on that as well. So very exciting environmental changes. It's feeling a lot more cozy of a room, I would say. A lot of these assets here kind of bring it together, and I'm excited to see different ways that we can arrange things in the room and place them so that we can make it feel a lot more lively, even more lively. So, as you probably noticed, in addition to these new environment assets here, there's also a lot of UI changes. Not sure if these, I think these windows, maybe I was starting to put them in place now, but what I did was I added some cool text effects, and that was, I think it's called text animations, something like that was the name of the asset. And so here we can see that there's this woobly fish tank at the bottom, and so this is essentially, yeah, our fish status information, and it'll change as we go from fish to fish. So very cool, very on theme with water and flowiness. And then there's also the money counter. So this pretty much just does a little bounce every time it increments the money value. I think it's still being brainstormed how exactly the money will be accumulated. I don't think it might not necessarily be while players are here in the tank view, but maybe something that's done more along the walk side. But if there is something that happens to accrue the player's money, yeah, I think showing it in this cool little animated way is exciting and fun. So it makes the UI feel a lot more alive, essentially. So a couple more UI things. Let's go ahead and open up our inventory menu now. Boom! It's a little bit rough right now, but we have this new kind of transition. So when you press the inventory menu, it pops open essentially. And so if we switch back real quick, I know there's a lot of new stuff here, but just showing these animations here first. So we can pull up the menu. It kind of comes at us with like a bouncy feel. And when we go back to the main screen, we have these menu elements, these UI elements essentially come in and bounce in from off screen essentially. So very fun, very exciting to see, and it really makes you, I don't know, even without having like the audio and maybe haptic feedback just yet, it really adds a lot to, I think, visually see some more, yeah, I guess some more interest in the actual view. And then of course the dynamic bones on top of that just elevates the game so much. So this is the new menu that Adrian worked on. So I went ahead and integrated a lot of the UI assets that he created and yeah, combined them with the existing effects and assets that I brought in to make it more animated essentially. So here we have our new kind of fish inventory that we can scroll through using our navigation buttons over here. And so we can see the fish change. They all have their own like spotlight type areas. Some of the render cams are a little bit small, so you can see the tail getting cut off for the particularly large fish. Even this one, Pez down here as well. But work in progress. And so there's that menu. And then there's also these buttons which also have the effect, but there is some overlap and stuff based on their position right now. So some of the buttons are kind of rendered on top of or after the previous ones. So maybe one thing to do would be to adjust this so that, you know, the button that you're hovering over comes front and center above all the other buttons. But again, this is all kind of placeholder and it is to be determined, to be changed. So yeah, so very exciting changes. I was really happy to mess with this asset some more and very pleased with the results for the amount of effort that it took to integrate them. So very exciting. Alrighty, let's try to see our last set of edits, which is the walk scene updates. Yes, the walk scene is it's coming along slowly but surely. We're getting there. And so essentially what we have here is some new updates to, we have this new house, home starting space essentially. So when you start your walk, you're going to be coming from home, navigating around the neighborhood, and then drawing your path pretty much back to your house. And so I added a couple of the animations here. So it's like, oh, which button are you hovering over? So then you know, like, it has a little bit more juice or responsiveness to it. So I'll go ahead and click draw. Let's begin to draw our path. And so Adrian actually worked on this new pathing elements essentially so that we can see what the path looks like a little bit more clearly, and even the bends in the path. It's very subtle change, but these use essentially, it's using a tile map. And when we have these bends and turns in the path, then we can see that essentially new tiles or sprites are being generated here to make it look a lot more wavy and curvy. And so right now I would say it's pretty subtle, but this is kind of the idea that we're going for, and I think it looks pretty nice. And so of course erase works in the same way that it did before. And one thing that I added, this will probably be the last thing, is when you complete your path, or at least get into proximity of your house and where you started your path, you can go ahead and see the start walk button appears. And so this is a dynamic button. So if our path doesn't complete and it doesn't return back home, that button gets disabled essentially. So draw the path, come on back home, start the walk. If our path doesn't make it back to the house, can't start it. So yeah, very fun stuff to work on. Yeah, and really excited to continue working on the game and seeing progress go along. It's very much a, yeah, very much a no frills devlog, just kind of popping in, showing a bit of the updates. But I think that'll be it. So yeah, stay tuned for more updates from Lonnies Fishtank.